Wait, does this mean our new professor is... No, I really can't believe it! But I was speaking to you so casually, as though we were companions. Oh, I am so sorry, Professor. You just look the same age as the rest of us, and... Oh, and I'm sorry I just said that too. I really must watch my tongue. You say that, but I just don't know about all of this.
I'll admit, it doesn't sit well with me either. After all, we wish to show you due respect.
Sure, but if the professor says it's okay, shouldn't that be enough? That is, if your highness can consent to such a thing. After all, we're already speaking this way to our future king, so we may as well relax our speech with our professor too, right?
Well, we're not in the kingdom, so it only goes to follow that we should all speak companionably. I concede. If the professor says it's fine, we ought to accept that kindness gratefully.
As for me, I'm not sure I can manage.
You don't have to force yourself if it's too difficult. You're fine with that too, right, Professor?
Such benevolence is a sight to behold. I don't suppose you would care to join me for tea. We could discuss education and marriage.
Control yourself, Sylvain. I have more important matters to discuss with our new professor. Come to the training ground later. There, you will show me what you're capable of.
You aren't wasting any time, are you, Felix? As it were, count me in for any such battle.
Pardon me, but I would also love to observe you in battle for future reference, if that's okay with you.
Ash, I won't have you speak of merely watching. You should join us as well.
If you get injured, simply say the word and I'll patch you up straight away.
Your Highness, do take care not to go overboard.
You worry too much to do. I'll be fine, I promise.
My companions, is there not something inherently wrong with crossing blades as a way to bond with each other?
Huh, I never thought of it that way. Well, if that's how you feel, I suppose you'll just stay behind while the rest of us are at the training ground?
Ingrid, my dearest friend, you really are too harsh on me.
Well then, Professor, what do you think? As you can see, the Blue Lion House is a lively bunch, but you'll find none who work harder. I'm certain we'll cause our fair share of trouble, but I'm very much looking forward to the year ahead. We're finally back. I'll leave the report to Lady Rhea in your hands, Professor. Huh. Edelgard. Does the Black Eagle House have a mission to see to? Remember, on a real battlefield, one can never tell what's to come. You can never dismiss the possibility of the worst-case scenario. Take care, Edelgard.
There's no need to state the obvious, Dimitri. But tell me, why the concern? Perhaps you doubt my abilities? If so, your lack of insight is disappointing.
That's not what I meant. If I've offended you, I hope you'll accept my apology.
Don't worry about it. Professor, we must hurry. Everyone's waiting on you.
I suppose I should be off too. Try not to let her get to you, Dimitri. I promise you, there's no need for concern.
I'll tell you all about it. Some other time.
I'm on the lookout for suspicious individuals. The only place I've yet to check is the library. As you wish. Candlelight. And who is that? No, it isn't. Impossible.
Professor, Dedu, what are you up to at this hour?
Your Highness, my apologies.
Oh, none necessary. I'm sorry for startling you. I was just doing some research. But I'm just about finished. I didn't realize how late it had gotten. We'd better head back to our quarters, Dedu. Until tomorrow, Professor.
A most unusual man. Whatever could he have been looking for so late at night? That book is quite askew. He must have rushed to put it back upon the shelf. It seems to be a record of donations from nobility. Arundel. That's not a name I know. But look at that. This Arundel gave quite a sum each year. That is, until the year 1174. He must have died or fallen to financial woe. I can't imagine what this has to do with Flayn.
I see. So you'll be staying here for some time then? Honestly, I'm surprised. I've heard it's been a few years since you last donated to the church.
That was merely because of the financial situation of my territory. I assure you it has nothing to do with my dedication to the church. By the way, Dimitri, isn't Edelgard currently enrolled at the Officers' Academy as well?
Yes, she's in the Black Eagle House. I don't believe she has any plans to leave anytime soon. Why not pay her a visit?
I may do just that. It's nice to stay in touch with my dear niece every now and then. Of course, I'm also delighted that I was able to speak with my nephew as well. Whether through marriage or otherwise, family is family after all.
Of course. The feeling is mutual. Professor, if you were watching, you should have made your presence known. That was Lord Arundel, the regent for the Empire. He is also Edelgard's uncle. My stepmother was his younger sister. We are not related by blood, but he is technically my uncle. Yes, my stepmother was Edelgard's birth mother. Edelgard and I are siblings by marriage. We can delve into that topic another time. For now, let's make preparations to investigate what's happening in that village.
Oh dear, the princess of the Empire and the kingdom's prince are kin. How very odd. All beings are attached somehow to those who are their family. Yes, even I. I must have had a family too. I wish I could remember them. My family. I wonder who and where they are, and what they're doing now. In any case, about this Arundel. You've heard that name before, correct? Quite true. We came across that name within the library, right where the prince had been. I thought that Arundel had died, and yet, not so. He seems alive and well. I wonder what the prince had hoped to learn from reading of his uncle's charity. So many things the prince has yet to tell. How bothersome.
Professor, I'm sorry you saw that side of me in the village. It must have been quite a shock to you and the others. I'm mortified by my behavior. When I saw the chaos and violence there, my mind just went completely dark. I see why you would say that. I always strive to keep my emotions at bay, but sometimes the darkness takes hold and it's impossible to suppress. It just shows you how lacking I am. I have much to learn. I've told you before that someday we may find ourselves facing something we simply cannot accept. That's what the chaos in Remire Village was to me. Solon and the Flame Emperor are both beasts who must be eliminated. Demons who kill the innocent. They aren't even human at this point. And you believed him? He doesn't deserve our forgiveness. He became an accomplice when he refused to turn himself in and return with us to the monastery. You see, Professor, I saw the same flames of torment just 4 years ago. In Dusker.
Please, have mercy!
The pain! Make the burning stop! Help me! Somebody!
Avenge us! Those who killed us! Tear them apart! Destroy them all!
My father, my stepmother, 4 years ago, they lost their lives to those flames. I'll never forget. I still remember their faces, their screams, the tortured last moments of every person who died that day. But right now, all that matters is that we do whatever we can to help the surviving villagers get back to their normal lives. Thank you for everything. There's a reason that I came to the Officers' Academy. Just one reason. I came here for revenge. And one day, I will have it. This is the only ball of the year, and I see why. Everyone is absurdly excited.
Your Highness, you sound so detached. We are all encouraged to enjoy the ball tomorrow.
Right you are. What a burden.
Huh. I never thought we'd see eye to eye, but I agree. I'd rather be swinging my blade than wasting my time with some girl at a ball.
Felix, Your Highness, you must be joking, right? This is our chance to dance with all of the ladies of the Academy to our heart's content. You wish to throw away the best day of the whole year for sword practice? Insanity, I tell you.
I'm pretty excited about the ball myself. It's not like we get to do things like this very often.
Too true, Ash. In fact, I'm going to do you a favor and give you a crash course in chatting up girls. By tomorrow, you'll be an expert.
Actually, I'd much prefer if someone could just teach me how to dance.
Don't worry about the dancing part. I can teach you that easy.
It's time for the ball. That warrants at least a tiny bit of makeup, don't you think, Ingrid? Just a smidge.
Maybe. I'll think about it.
It's settled. Tomorrow morning we'll meet up in Ingrid's room. Ooh, I can't wait!
You know, there's no telling where life will take us after we leave here. If only we could find a way to come together again, just like this.
A fine notion, Your Highness. Perhaps 5 years from now?
5 years from now? Ah, that's when Garrigmach Monastery will be holding its Millennium Festival.
By then, we'll be addressing Your Highness as Your Majesty instead.
That's right. I suppose we all know it's coming, but by then you'll be far removed from us.
Come now, you know me better than that. My title may change, but I won't. And it won't just be me, you know. 5 years from now, you'll all have your own stuffy positions to contend with. But as I understand it, the festivities at the Millennium Festival will be of a scale far beyond anything we've yet seen. In other words, the perfect excuse for all of us to return here.
Ooh, a reunion? That sounds fun! I wouldn't miss it for the world!
I'd love for you to be there as well, Professor. After all, you're the heart of the Blue Lion House. Good. Then it's settled. Of course, if something happens and I'm not able to attend, I'm leaving all of the logistics of organizing this reunion to you, Professor.
It's true. I'm sure being a king will keep you busy, but it's a bit early to be backing out of your own plans, don't you think?
Yes, I suppose you're right. I'm sorry. You have my word. I will return as well. Count on it. Professor, what are you doing here? No, I should think not. As a child, Edelgard taught me how to dance. It was a bit awkward, honestly. I've told you before that we're siblings by marriage, haven't I? Her birth mother was my stepmother, although I didn't know that at the time. My stepmother treated me with such kindness, just as though I were her own flesh and blood. And yet she never so much as hinted that she had her own child, Edelgard. We were born and raised in different territories, without ever knowing the other even existed. Yet, against all odds, for just over a year, we became childhood friends. Indeed. Unaware of each other's stations or backgrounds, we met and became incredibly close. This was when she and Lord Arundel were living in the kingdom. They were in exile. This was a time of great turmoil within the Empire. I ran into her when visiting Lord Arundel's residence with my father. She seemed quite bored with everything. At first, I found her to be difficult and stubborn. But that facade quickly fell away, revealing her true self beneath. That's around the time when she taught me how to dance. Her instruction was, oh, let's call it strict, to put it nicely.
Wrong foot, Dimitri. You're supposed to lead with your right.
Hell, the sun's going down. I really ought to be heading home. That 1 year before she had to return to the Empire was so much fun. The time of my life in many ways. It's kind of pathetic to think about it all these years later. But can you guess what I gave her as a parting gift? Huh. Good guess, Professor. But I swear, it came from the heart. In Fargus, we've long considered blades as tools of destiny, as a way to cut a path to a better future. She was being dragged all over, unable to live the life she wanted. I thought the dagger could help her cut a path to the future she dreamed of. However, that was many years ago. I'm sure she's forgotten all about the boy I was back then. I'm afraid it's far too late for that. Things are different now. She's different. I'm different. Anyway, I'm feeling a bit out of place here. Festivities like this don't suit me. Still, I suppose I should get back in there. Goodbye, Professor. There you are. Lady Rhea is looking for you, Professor. And after your audience, why don't you join me at the dining hall? You haven't eaten since it happened, have you? Forgive me. I suppose it's too soon to try and coax you back into the normal swing of things. As for what happened to Gerald, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't do anything to stop it. Stay here until you've found some peace. I'll cover for you with Lady Rhea and everyone else. We'll be waiting for you whenever you're ready to return to us. I don't believe it's a sign of strength to just keep moving forward no matter what. Taking the time to grieve for those we've lost. There's strength in that too. That's what I think anyway. That said, it's also important to remember that no matter how sad you are, eventually your tears will dry up. That's when you have to figure out what it is you're living for. Then you can cling to that with all your might and start moving forward again. 4 years ago in Dusker, I experienced the same pain you're feeling now. My father was the strongest man I knew, someone I loved and admired deeply. That day, he was killed before my eyes. his head severed clean off. My stepmother, the kindest person I had ever known, left me behind and disappeared into the infernal flames. Everyone who I considered precious, my family and my closest friends, I couldn't save any of them. Not a single one. Now, the burden of the work they left behind falls on me. I must ensure they have no regrets. That's my duty as the sole survivor of the tragedy. It's a heavy burden, but accepting it gave me the strength to pick myself up off the ground and start moving again. Start living again. Gerald is gone. So what will you do now, Professor? What must you do? Look deep in your heart, and I'm certain you'll find the answer there. Indelible and inescapable. I've probably bothered you enough for today, but I have just one more thought to leave you with. Even now, Sedith is gathering the knights to begin a full-scale search for the enemy. It may not be right away, but before long they will find their trail. No matter what happens or what anyone may say, know that I plan to stand by you, Professor. Through anything. Until the bitter end.
Well, did you search deep within yourself as he suggested? And did you find yourself some answers? This book is filled with secrets yet unknown. We must return another time to read the rest. Oh, but I have at least figured one thing out. I know now why our fates are intertwined. What are you doing at this hour? Oh, I know. You are eavesdropping. I must admit that I approve.
Professor, we must remain quiet.
I see. The Flame Emperor and Monica. And the mage who rescued Monica.
I don't know, but if we keep listening, we might be able to find out.
An unexpected chance to hear their plans. Patience, patience.
Oh, thank you. You saved me.
If you were to die, then the mystery of our bodies would be revealed. Preventing that was my only aim. I'm afraid you must remain, Kronya. There is something I need you to do.
Oh, of course. I am always happy to cooperate with Solon. Leave it to me.
How annoying.
Flame Emperor, is she offending you? Unfortunately, we cannot take our eyes off her, so there is nothing to be done. You are our greatest creation. We use the defiled beast's blood as the fuel to your flame, that you may burn even the gods. Now is the time to cleanse Fodlan with that power and bring forth our salvation.
There will be no salvation for you and your kind. Those responsible for such gruesome deeds in Dusker and Enmar.
All so that you may acquire the strength you need. All for a purpose.
I've got you. Finally. If we don't act now, we'll miss our chance.
Even if someone has overheard us, there is nothing they can do. There have always been rats in the walls, and there always will be.
No. The dagger. No, never mind. It couldn't possibly be so. Professor, those are the ones we must destroy. They're the bastards who killed my family and Gerald. For now, let's return to the monastery and regroup. As for the Flame Emperor's dagger, I'll hold on to it for the time being.
Is this some kind of twisted joke?
I've been looking for you. I will take that head from your shoulders
And hang it from the gates of Endor! Stop right there!
Before I break your neck, there is one thing I must ask you.
Stay out of my way.
I don't recall giving you permission to speak. Answer my question. That is all you have left to do. Flame Emperor. No. Edelgard. Tell me now. Why did you cause such a tragedy? You killed your own mother, and yet you haven't even had the decency to stop and consider the reasons behind your actions. Have you?
I already told you I had nothing to do with that.
It was foolish to think I could reason with a lowly beast.
Your Majesty, now!
You are a monster.
Come, Hubert.
To flee is futile, wicked girl. The Church of Seros will raise its entire army against you until you have been captured and punished. You have defiled the holy tomb, dishonored the goddess, and humiliated your brethren. That crime will never be erased. Even if you burn in the eternal flames and spill all of your blood into the goddess's soil. Come, Professor. Let us return and decide upon our next course of action.
We weren't able to defeat her.
Your Highness.
I will kill Edelgard with my own hands. I swear it! Let's return to the monastery, Professor. It is clear what must be done.
So, he's finally shown his true face. The same Dimitri I've seen once before. A beast who loves spilling blood.
You're wrong. I'm sure of it. There has to be an explanation.
I knew he'd been carrying the burden of that tragedy. I understand his thirst for revenge. His family and closest friends, all massacred right in front of him. But it still doesn't add up. There must be more that we don't know.
That's true. Dimitri didn't come unhinged until after the Flame Emperor was unmasked.
You don't think there's some connection between those two, do you?
The leaders of the Church have misused its creed to fulfill their true desire, to rule the world. They have fooled the people of Fodlan. Long ago, they divided the Empire to create a kingdom, and then divided that kingdom to create an alliance. They did all of this to make the masses bicker amongst themselves. They caused instability in order to reinforce their own authority. They gathered gold and lived in extravagance. How? By preying on the devotion of those who wished for the goddess's salvation. Those corrupt hypocrites cannot lead Fodlan to true peace. Their foul belief system must be torn asunder so that true wisdom may finally prevail. And so, I have decided, by order of the Adrestian Emperor, Edelgard von Hresvelg, the Empire hereby declares war on the Church of Seros.
I cannot believe it. Let us recount the situation as it stands, Professor. After you returned from the Holy Tomb, the Adrestian Empire declared war upon the Church of Seros, as well as our allies. Edelgard demanded her own father relinquish the throne, and then assumed the position of Emperor. She has deemed the Church of Seros to be an evil of this world, and is calling upon the people of Fodlan to help her tear it down. I must discuss our response to this declaration with the Archbishop, after the Knights return from their investigation. Until then, watch over the students. See that they remain calm.
Professor, the Empire has declared war on the Church of Seros.
We knew this day would come, sooner or later.
What's going to happen?
We can't afford to be optimistic. It's entirely possible the kingdom will be invaded.
Settle yourself, Ingrid. We need to carefully consider our options.
We can't just act rashly. That will only make things worse.
Once we've ascertained the situation, we must return to Ferdiad. Your Highness.
Unforgivable! I cannot fathom that the Adrestian Empire would embark on such a violent course of action.
The fault is my own. I failed to see the wickedness within Edelgard's heart. There is no question on that front. She clearly wishes to conquer all of Fodlan. And in order to achieve her own selfish ambitions, she plotted with ill-meaning strangers and defiled the Holy Tomb. Or perhaps her ambitions are even grander than we know. Perhaps she is planning to make herself a false deity by demonizing the Church of Seros.
Adrestia received its very name through a divine oracle. To injure the goddess is a sin most foul that shall not be forgiven, nor forgotten. We must stop the Empire, and quickly.
I have returned, Rhea.
Welcome back, Shamir. Were you able to discern the Empire's movements?
Their main troops are marching towards Garreg Mach. It is said that they will join forces with Edelgard's army and arrive within 2 weeks.
2 weeks? That is not enough time. It will require all of our efforts just to prepare our defenses before then. We must send notice to all surrounding villages at once. We must order the residents of Garreg Mach to flee for their lives.
It will be done.
Professor, listen closely. If our enemy invades the monastery, I will have no choice but to stand upon the battlefield. If something happens to me, I am entrusting my sacred duties to you. You must have guessed it by now. The truth of who you are. Or perhaps I should say, your lost memories are surely beginning to return. I have acted all these long years as a mere proxy for you. But the duty is yours, and yours alone. Only you can lead the people of Fodlan.
Rhea, please. You must tell me all that you know. I beg of you. That one is the progenitor god. Am I correct?
In a sense. Our dear professor is a vessel. One who carries the power of the progenitor god within. In time, the vessel will become one with the power contained within, and the progenitor god shall return to this world.
I see. I trust that you are aware of the questionable nature of this experiment. But I suppose there is no turning back.
I ask that you help our friend. And in doing so, help her. I am waiting and hoping for the moment when our Creator rules this wayward land once more.
I am sorry, but I cannot do this. I am not certain it is just.
I see. That is a shame.